Yeah, so welcome back to NVC Dudes.
Yeah, we were just talking about requests, and that's a big topic for people who are working in NVC because a request can easily become a demand, especially when the answer of no is not an option, and it's sort of a minefield that people get into, and it's hard to know what their options are when they get a no, right?
Yeah.
So James, how do you deal with when you put a request out to somebody and they say no?
Well, why don't we just try it?
All
Um,
right.
so Brian, would you be willing to pass the talking stick over here?
Well, I've got a few things I wanted to talk about still, and it's really up for me right now, and I don't think I'm ready to pass the stick, so I'm gonna have to say no for now.
Okay. Wow.
What what,
So,
what came up
so
for you when I said that?
yeah. So I'm gonna pause. So we're gonna pause, and this is happening inside of my brain. And what Marshall used to do, he used to touch on his head to give himself empathy, sort of like stoking the giraffe that he sometimes wore on his head.
Yeah.
And yeah, and so just kind of going inside of myself, gosh, hearing no is hard. I'd much rather he say yes, and I'm just noticing how uncomfortable that is.
Right.
You know, um, and there's something around ease, and I noticed that in that moment I wanted to be heard, so I'm acknowledging my need to be heard. Yes, I wanted to be heard, and I also want to contribute something.
Mm.
And so that's kind of behind my desire to speak.
Yeah.
And now, so that was empathy for me, and now I'm naturally starting to feel a little bit more curious about what's going on for Brian. And inside of my head, I can give empathy to Brian. It's like, wow, oh yeah, maybe he's in the flow of a thought, and he's wanting to be heard and understood.
Right.
So yeah, so now having connected with my needs and some needs that Brian's got going on, I can go back to the conversation and be okay with it.
Right.
So I'm going to take my hand off and go back into the conversation. So Brian, oh yeah, so you'd rather keep going. Sounds like you're on a roll.
Right.
What's
Yeah.
up?
There's just a couple things I just wanted to get out there before I handed over the power of the talking stick, and I sort of lost my chance to make these needs be known. And so
You
I
got
just,
it, brother. I love hearing you.
yeah. So yeah, I'm yeah, feeling this need for connection and friendship, and wanting to, I'm missing so much of the physical connection that I used to have with people, giving hugs and having people be in my physical presence. And I just wanted you to know that I'm really missing that in my life right now. And
Yeah, you're
so
missing your
ironic.
friends, the
Yeah,
companionship of friends.
we're on the
Yeah,
Zoom call, and it's okay, but it's just not the same.
it's not the same. So
Yeah.
you really long for that physical contact.
Right. Right. Yeah. So thank you for hearing that. I just wanted to get that last piece out there.
Cool.
So would you like to have the talking stick now?
Yeah, yeah,
Let's
I'd love
give
to
that.
be heard. You want to
Okay.
pass that over?
Great. Here it comes.
Got it.
Excellent.
I'm glad you got to finish your thought because, what you said resonates for me. I also have this longing for friendship and for presence, to be physically present with my friends.
Right.
Yeah, I really miss that as well. Gosh, I've been wanting that for so long. Yeah.
Yeah, that resonates so much with me. Yeah, I hear you. And I think we
So
probably wouldn't be having this conversation if you had grabbed the stick away from me, or if you had demanded it. We probably
that's
wouldn't.
right.
We would have missed this piece.
Right. And our connection, our would have been affected by it had I just reached out and grabbed it, you know.
Yeah.
So, with consent and a little self-empathy, I was able to hear no and stay in integrity with my values. I was able to show up in integrity with my values. So cool, Brian. This sounds like another little nugget.
Yeah. I love the idea of hearing no and what that means. So thanks for modeling that with me.
Yeah. Well, thanks, brother.
All right, man. Talk to you later.
All right. See you next time.